I think, thinking about it, there are many opportunities for engagement at the European level and influence by NGOs, but I think that there are also many challenges. And I think before we get into that, I think it's always good to remind us of what's the purpose of data collection, what's the purpose of monitoring, what's the purpose of this strategic engagement at the European level. And a former boss of mine who set up the first national victim service in the UK told me that she was often asked, what do victims want? And she thought that they were probably expecting her to say something like this policy or that intervention or this police training or this data. And it was her view that really what victims want is for it to stop. So whatever it is, the hate crime, the harassment, the crimes against them, to stop it happening. And I think that it's important to bear in mind in all of our work and our interventions to think about how our efforts are going to help prevent hate crime and how our efforts are going to help get the best responses for victims of hate crime across the EU. So what are some opportunities or what are some of our experiences in terms of these strategies or platforms for engagement? Well, since I'm from the OSCE, I'd obviously like to mention and talk a bit about our annual hate crime report and our other activities in this area. And many of you will know that since about 2005, we've produced an annual hate crime report. The purpose of this report is to give the information that we can about the prevalence of hate crime, but really what it does is it gives an idea of state responses to hate crime, the state's figures, official figures on hate crime, and certainly from the NGO perspective, it gives us an indication of hate crime in states where we may not get any official data at all. So I'd say instead of giving a view about the prevalence of hate crime, it really gives a picture of who is reporting what is some of the nature of the cases of hate crime, and unfortunately where the big gaps in data collection are across the OSCE region. To give you an idea, last year we had 83 NGOs reporting over 4,000 incidents. And I have to say that over the years, certainly the quality of the information we've received, the specific information we receive has greatly increased. And I think that leads to the second area of cooperation that's important, which is around training, capacity building, both between international organizations and NGOs, and with NGOs who are quite capacitated or have many skills themselves, sharing that with other NGOs who can also learn from them. I think that one of the areas of this is around what do we mean by hate crime? What do we mean by the term hate crime? The OSCE has a definition of hate crime that we use as a sort of analytical filter to process the information that we receive, which is a criminal offense plus a biased motivation. And a lot of our activities are around working with NGOs on how to identify those two elements of hate crime, how to monitor that, how to report it and use it to get better services from authorities, and also to report up to international organizations like ourselves. I think there's another platform of engagement that is around other institutions. FRA and ECRI, INA, EU are doing loads of work in this area. And I think that there's some great examples of cooperation. I think this project that we're all here in Brussels, the experts and NGOs are here to be involved in, is an excellent example of that kind of funding to provide the opportunity to get these guidelines on monitoring. And that would be a case in point, I'd say. So what are some of the challenges? Well, we know that many NGOs are operating in very challenging environments. That could either be because they may not have many resources themselves. They may be working with public authorities who have a limited understanding of what hate crime is about. They may not be collecting their own data. some states don't collect data on hate crime, which makes it difficult for NGOs to engage and make the case that there is bigoted, targeted violence that's going on in these countries. And I think that there are no easy ways to address these issues, and I'm certainly not going to try and give you the answer here, but I know that there are people in the room who have ideas and who have direct experience.